Powered by Righteous Media.
Welcome to Independent Americans. Welcome to episode 374. I'm your host, Paul Rieckhoff, and it is Friday, November 14th. Happy Friday, people. I am back in New York City, back from Columbus, Ohio, where I was yesterday to give a talk on veterans and housing, the home of John Glenn, the home of the National Veterans Museum. But I am back here, and it is Football Friday. Friday football, we taking the stage. It is Football Friday, and we are going to end a very important and very powerful and very tense Veterans Week with no guests. I am your solo quarterback on this. Football Friday because I got a lot to say. And we had a couple guests that canceled, and we tried to land, couldn't make it happen. But I needed to at least put some stuff down for you to consider as we end the week and get ready for what could be another wild one. But before we get into the awesomeness that has been this week, highlights from the news that just keep on coming. Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani were both named MVP again, which is amazing, but sadly, Shohei is still the only one with any titles. There is a new title for the Department of Defense. If you didn't see it, Pete Hegseth banged a sign onto the Pentagon that says Department of War, which is just stupid, more stupid from stupid people doing stupid things. But they continue to be the least transparent Pentagon ever because it's another week with no Pentagon news briefing. Our friend Dan Lamont over at the Washington Post notes the last briefing from Kingsley Cortez was August 14th. Now, most reporters, those including those from Fox and Newsmax, left back on October 15th. There are right-wing replacements that have been announced, like Laura Loomer and the My Pillow Guys TV network. But people familiar with the matter say that functionally, the press corridor is mostly a ghost town. More on why that's important coming up. Starbucks workers are still on strike. Speaking of Starbucks, its home in Seattle has a new mayor, and she's kind of like Seattle's Mom Donnie. She is a young, liberal, smart person who represents change, especially for the disgruntled Generation Z people that are increasingly, and I think understandably, angry nationwide and voting in greater numbers. Mayor Wilson is a Pacific Northwest avatar. This is what the New York Times called her, that I had to share with you. Miss Wilson, 43, is a Pacific Northwest avatar of the generational and ideological shifts rocking the Democratic Party. I don't know if that's what she is, but she represents change. And some folks are calling for radical change on the left and the right, and that's happening. The U.S. has conducted its 20th strike on alleged drug boat. We're now up to 20. And this whole operation outside of Venezuela now has a name. The acting Secretary of Defense, or what he calls himself, the Secretary of War, has announced that it's called Operation Southern Spear. That's what they're calling it. Here it comes, folks. Are you ready for more war? Maybe just in time to end Veterans Week, just in time for our Football Friday? Well, a Veterans Week concludes with what could be a bang. It's been real and awesome, but it is Friday. It is Friday. They can't stop Friday. And on Friday, this Friday especially, is now especially a time to stay vigilant. All right. So no guests to help us stay vigilant. It's just me and you. So I always ask our guests, and I want to ask you, our listeners, our viewers all around the country, all around the world, independent Americans, where are you and how are you? I'd love to hear from you. You can hit us up on social media. You can leave us a voice message or even a video at independentamericans.us. Shoot us an email and let us know where you are and how you are. Upcoming shows, I want to share more of your perspectives. I want to share your videos. I want to let folks know how other independent Americans are feeling because this is a really tense time. And I think especially on this Friday, as we've finished a really, I think, important week where we started with General Mark Hertling. Then we talked to Kristen Rouse, my dear friend and veterans advocate. Then we did a double header with Henry Rollins. If you haven't seen that or heard that, please go back, check it out, watch it on YouTube. And we finished what is an emotional and important week, the week after our election and just a couple weeks from Thanksgiving. And I think it's a good bookend to talk to you about what could be coming over the weekend, could be coming any day, could be coming in a month. Because it feels to me like Trump wants war with Venezuela. He's put the pieces in place. He's said he'll do it. Nobody's stopping him. And so as we go into the weekend, I want to give you some light, and I'm going to give you football picks soon. But before we do, I got one top topic, and it might be the top topic for a while now, but it is our number one top topic. If you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Trump has now moved multiple naval ships off the coast of the Caribbean. They are staging troops in what looks like could be an imminent attack. As I just shared on my weekly hit on MSNBC with Nicole Wallace, Trump doesn't care if people are against this. There's a new Reuters Ipsos poll that says only 29% of Americans support these actions off the coast of Venezuela. So let's say roughly 70% of Americans are against this. He doesn't care. The British and the Canadians and the French and the Colombians are against it. He doesn't care. For me, this is deja vu all over again. This feels like their rationale, these boats and the attacks on these narco terrorists, feels like the 2025 version of weapons of mass destruction. This is like their yellow cake. They want a war, and they're in search of a justification. There's not a justification for the war. They're flipping it. And I just got off TV with a Democrat congressman from Connecticut who said, we've been briefed by Rubio, we've been briefed by Hegseth, and they said there's no war coming. Why the fuck do you believe them? I don't think that people have enough imagination. Trump said he wasn't going to knock down the White House, and he did that. He said he wasn't going to snatch up Americans, and he did that. He said he wasn't going to steamroll the Pentagon, and he did that. And he says at times he's not going to strike Venezuela. He doesn't want war with Venezuela, but at the same time he said he'll do strikes. He'll put troops on the ground. He is open to that. So take him at his word. And to all the members of Congress who believe Hegseth and believe Rubio, Hegseth is a guy who lied to at least 2 of his ex-wives. Why do you think he won't lie to you? He is loyal to Trump. They are moving the pieces. And I would bet money on some kind of strikes in Venezuela before the end of this calendar year. Now, there are a lot of folks, especially on the left, who are saying this is wag the dog because they want to distract from the Epstein files. Yeah, they want to make Epstein go away, but this was always on their priority list. They always wanted to do something in Venezuela. They might want to do something in Mexico. Trump wants power. Trump wants to flex. There's plenty of folks who want Maduro out, would like to control Venezuela, and especially the oil. I don't know what their rationale is, but they have consistently communicated that they want war with Venezuela. They want to knock off Maduro, and they want Venezuelan regime change. So why don't we believe them? I think that too often the Democrats are getting distracted, and the shutdown was a self-inflicted gunshot wound that they created on this country that has distracted us for weeks and weeks. I will continue to hold them accountable because they decided to do it. They picked a fight with a bully that they couldn't win, and they folded, as is predictable and perfectly on brand. But at the end of the day, the most important topic is the fact that Donald Trump can do anything he wants with the most powerful military the world has ever seen, and nothing is stopping him. That's what I want folks to understand. Nothing is stopping him. He put troops in cities. He put troops on borders. He activated federal troops. He struck Iran. He struck Yemen. Now, if he wants to strike Venezuela, who's going to stop him? Chuck Schumer? Speaker Johnson? Nobody's going to stop him. If he wants to do it, he's going to do it. Maybe he's just waiting for the pieces to be in place. Maybe he's waiting for something else. I don't know. But I would put money, more likely than not, that in the next year, for sure, maybe in the next few months, there will be some kind of military strikes within Venezuela. And that's why I want to end with this. I want to end this week, this Veterans Week, with this story. Because as we end a time reflecting and remembering and celebrating the service of generations of veterans, we may be on the verge of creating a whole new generation of veterans. There's a whole new generation of chicken hawks in Washington, and a whole new generation of members of Congress that are asleep at the wheel or distracted or just plain dumb. And we are on the verge of potentially, I have no certainty, I have no inside information, but I have lots of caution. And I will caution us that any time a president says he wants to send a nation to war, wants to put our troops in harm's way, even if it's just to strike boats, we should be asking hard questions. We should be uniting, and we should be demanding accountability. It's not an inspiring Friday message, but it's a truthful one. I hope that's what you can come to expect from me and the show. Because as we go into the weekend, there may be pieces moving in place that can create an imminent strike inside Venezuela. And if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. All right, quick segue. Many of you know me from CNN or from News Nation or from MSNBC, where I've been a contributor, I've been commenting, I've been visiting for free for almost 20 years. If you don't know, MSNBC records at 30 Rock, right behind where they put up the Christmas tree in Midtown Manhattan. It's a beautiful building. It's where they do Kelly's show. It's where they do Saturday Night Live. It's where Babe Ruth once had a radio show down the hall. And it's a historic place. It's a place steeped in history and in memories and in friendships. And tonight, this Friday night, they're closing it down. They're pulling everything off the wall except for this and a few other things that may come down in the next couple of days. They're moving the staffs and they're changing the name. MSNBC will be called MSNow, which I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think many folks are a huge fan of, but I did hear that perhaps they needed to keep it as MSNow so that when you were scrolling through television, especially if you're an older member of their demographic, you wouldn't even notice a difference. But they are separating NBC News and MSNBC, creating MSNow. And that also starts with the people here tonight. So some of them are going out for drinks. There's kind of a somber mood, a reflective mood. Some folks have sadly been cut, and I hope we'll find jobs somewhere else soon. And if you're one of them, let me know. Maybe I can help. But it's the end of an era. Whether you love MSNBC or you hate MSNBC, for at least 20 years, I've been coming here into this building. And starting tomorrow, the name will be different. And maybe more importantly, the history of this building will be changing. And they will be somewhere else on the west side in the 40s. And 30 Rock won't be the place where we collect and come together. There's another part of it that you don't see on TV and you don't see when you're watching the shows, is that when you come in and out of 30 Rock, you have to go through the tourists. There are huge numbers of tourists waiting for Saturday Night Live or waiting to see the Christmas tree. And a part of that kind of keeps you accountable. When you know you're talking about something like war with Venezuela, you walk outside and see tourists from Brazil who are here to see FAO Schwartz. It kind of reminds you of what this is all about. So to my friends here at MSNBC, I'm raising a glass to you and pouring a little bit out. Congratulations and thank you for 20 impactful, dramatic years, and best wishes on the future. I'm honored to be a part of it, and especially to all the friends I've met here. Wishing you the best and looking forward to what's next. Onward. All right, it is Friday, and we are not going to leave Friday football. I just came back from Columbus, Ohio, the home of the Ohio State University. When I gave my talk on Thursday, yesterday, I had to do this thing that they do out there when I say, and they go, I-O-O-H-I-O. We did that a couple of times during my talk. And Ohio State 9-0, number one in the country, national champions, are hosting UCLA at 3-8. I think they're going to blow them out. I think Ohio State wins by 50. Then Texas 7-2, number 10 goes down to Georgia, who's 8-1, number 5 Georgia. I think Georgia's going to put a whooping on them. I think they're going to win by 21 points. Georgia always delivers, especially at home. They're a tank, and I don't know if Texas is a real top 10 team. We're going to find out, but I'm going with Georgia. NFL, some really cool games. As I long predicted, this is not a cool game, but the New York Giants will be playing the Green Bay Packers. And as I long predicted, the colorful, electrifying, I think inspiring Jameis Winston is now our quarterback. Jackson Dart is out. Coach Brian Dable is out. Russell Wilson is not the QB. And the electrifying Jameis Winston will be. So we probably won't win too many games, if any, but we're going to have a really fun quarterback. If you don't watch this guy, tune in because it's going to be must-see TV. And I think the Giants will also lose to the Packers. Moving on, 7-2 Seahawks versus 7-2 Rams. These are two teams that people on the West Coast don't realize how good they are. I'm going with the Rams. I think the Rams are going to pull it off. They're looking good. Their quarterback's on fire. I'm going with the Rams. Another good matchup. 5-4 Chiefs are going into Denver to play the Broncos, and Bo Nix 8-2. I'm going with the Broncos. I think the Chiefs are old. I think they're banged up. I don't think they're going to be able to hang in at this part of the season. They may come back in the playoffs and do well, but I'm going with the Broncos to roll over the Chiefs. And the Sunday night game, which is a big one, could be a preview of the NFC Championship. The Lions at 6-3 are going into the Eagles, who are 7-2. I'm going to take the Eagles at home. I just think that they have a tendency to put it together when they're at home. Jalen Hurts is always great. And the Rams have a tough thing to do, try to go into Philly and win. So I hate to do it, but I'm picking the Eagles to win that one. Those are my Friday football picks. Let me know who you're picking. Sound off on social media. Let us know, and tune in next Friday where we will have another guest. Could be someone from politics, could be someone from media, could be someone from anywhere. But whoever they are, if they're here on Friday, we're going to make them do Friday football. All right, before we break for the weekend, I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in. We are daily now I'm bringing the content. We got a lot to say. We got a lot of guests to bring you, and we're going to keep bringing that fire next week and every week to come. So if you like this show, please pause for a minute right now and hit that subscribe button, whether it's on Apple Pods, Spotify, and especially on YouTube. That way you'll get it automatically and free every morning. If you miss a couple days, no big deal. They'll be waiting for you. And that's how we help build an audience. That's how we can afford to keep this show coming. That's how we can reach more people with our independent message. So please hit that subscribe button, share it with a couple folks, and invite them to declare their independence. But before we end this show, I got, of course, on this Friday, an exhausting Friday where my voice is gone. It was my wife's birthday. We had Veterans Day. I went to Columbus, and we might have war with Venezuela. I still got something good.
Something good, oh, something sweet. Feel the fire, feel the
All right, my something good. Well, first of all, it's the weekend. And that's good because no matter what Trump does, no matter what happens in politics, they can't stop the weekend. And that's a good thing, at least until something bad happens and it messes up. But it's a weekend. So enjoy the weekend. It is my final weekend of flag football with my boys. We got a Turkey Bowl tournament tomorrow. And that's fun because when you wrap up football, it's a great way to end a chapter with the kids. It's going to be cold. You get some grit and determination and character building. But that means after that, Thanksgiving's coming. And I, on this Friday, want to say that something good is that Thanksgiving's coming. I know it's a complicated time for a lot of people, for my family included, but it's also a time to be thankful for what we've got. I always remember the Thanksgiving I spent in Iraq and how many Thanksgivings I spent away from my family. So any Thanksgiving where I'm safe and there's not a gun being shot at me and I'm getting a hot meal, I'm thankful. And so I'm thankful that the holiday season is starting. Christmas is a whole nother thing. I'm not ready for all these Christmas decorations, but Thanksgiving is coming. And that is definitely something good.
something good, oh,
All right, that's it for a wild week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you especially to General Mark Hertling, Kristen Rouse, and Henry Rollins. This is already one of the greatest interviews we've done. We're getting tremendous feedback. If you haven't gone back and listened or watched, especially watched, Henry Rollins, please go back and do that. He is my favorite guest of all time, I think, and I hope someone who will come back much more often now that we're daily. And let me know what you think about that show and all the other recent shows we've done daily. Go to independentamericans.us, get some merch if you can, join our Patreon community if you can, and help us continue to bring this movement forward. Adding light to contrast to heat, busting up the status quo, and fueling a new movement. A lot more independent candidates are coming up every day. They're reaching out to me, and you're going to hear from them on this show. But remember, most of all, as we head into a weekend that could bring anything, stay vigilant. I know you're not alone in your vigilance. We're all vigilant. We're all in this together. I'm your host, Paul Rieckhoff. Thank you for tuning in all week for this special Veterans Week. Thank you for helping us continue to grow as we go daily. And thank you to all of you who are setting the right example and acting like the helpers that we need, the helpers that our friend, Mr. Rogers, told us to look for. Because on Friday, over the weekend and every day, we got to look for the helpers. Happy Friday, everybody. I'll see you this time next week on Monday. Look for a brand new episode. Go back and check out the ones you haven't. Enjoy this football Friday. Enjoy the weekend. And until next time, stay vigilant, America. Stay vigilant.
Powered by Righteous Media.